It's come to a point now where COVID-19 has more or less run its course, and it's safe enough now for some projects to go back into production. This, I would assume, also includes the live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender adaptation. However, today was a sad day for anyone anticipating the release of Netflix's live-action adaptation, because earlier today, the original creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Bryan Konietzko and Dante Dimartino, announced on Instagram that they were no longer going to be part of the project. Let's start with Bryan Konietzko's post. Before I get into the crux of this statement, I would like to make it clear that I'm very aware and appreciative of the fact that I'm in an exceedingly fortunate position, and that the following issues are indeed good problems to have, even more so now that we are in the grips of a global pandemic and a catering economy which have left millions unemployed. With that crucial context, here is the big news from my little world. Michael Dimartino and I recently chose to leave Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, the series he and I created in 2002. We will have no involvement in the project moving forward. This is probably the most difficult decision I've ever made, but there is no doubt in my mind that it was absolutely the right choice. When Netflix brought me on board to run this series alongside Mike 2 years ago, they made a very public promise to support our vision. Unfortunately, there was no follow-through on that promise. Though I got to work with some great individuals both on Netflix's side and on our own small development team, the general handling of the project created what I felt was a negative and unsupportive environment. To be clear, this was not a simple matter of us getting our way. Mike and I are collaborative people. We did not need all of the ideas to come from us. As long as we felt those ideas were in line with the spirit and integrity of Avatar, we would have happily embraced them. However, we ultimately came to the belief that we would not be able to meaningfully guide the direction of the series. Though I am profoundly disappointed by how things turned out, there are wonderfully talented people who are still working on the series, some of whom Mike and I personally hired and got to know well during our time on the project. We worked very hard together towards a shared dream of how special this adaptation could be. I wanted to see them employed, and I hope they get the chance to do their best on the series. Perhaps the team that remains might still be able to make something fans of the original and an entirely new audience can enjoy. By and large, I've had an incredibly charmed career, and I'm very grateful for it. And I am enormously lucky for the amazing global opportunity of fans that has grown around the shows that Mike and I have created and run together. I will continue to be deeply involved in the Avatar universe, telling the stories my partner and I want to tell in the way that we want to tell them. I'll put my time, energy, and talents towards the projects that give me the most fulfillment, and where I am afforded trust and respect. Life is too short to do otherwise. Bryan Konietzko. This is what Michael Dimartino had to say about the matter. An open letter to Avatar: The Last Airbender fans. Many of you have been asking me for updates about the Avatar live-action Netflix series. I can finally tell you that I am no longer involved with the project. In June of this year, after 2 years of development work, Bryan Konietzko and I made the difficult decision to leave the production. When Bryan and I signed on to the project in 2018, we were hired as executive producers and showrunners. In a joint announcement for the series, Netflix said that it was committed to honouring our vision for this retelling and to support us on creating the series, and we expressed how excited we were for the opportunity to be at the helm. Unfortunately, things did not go as we had hoped. Look, things happen, productions are challenging, unforeseen events arise, plans have to change, and when those things have happened at other points during my career, I try to be like an air nomad and adapt. I do my best to go with the flow, no matter what obstacle is put in my way, but even an air nomad knows when it's time to cut their losses and move on. I started to reevaluate what is truly important in my life and what I wanted to do with what's left of it. I took some advice from Uncle Iroh. I looked inward and started asking myself the big question: who are you and what do you want? I also sought wisdom from the Stoic philosophers who were big on differentiating between what is within our control and what isn't. I realized I couldn't control the creative direction of the series, but I could control how I responded, so I chose to leave the project. It was the hardest professional decision I've ever had to make, and certainly not one that I took lightly, but it was necessary for my happiness and creative integrity. And who knows, Netflix's live-action adaptation of Avatar has the potential to be good. It might turn out to be a show many of you end up enjoying. But what I can be certain about is whatever version ends up on screen, it will not be what Mike and I had envisioned or intended to make. I also want to be clear that this doesn't mean the end of my involvement in the Avatar universe. These stories and characters are important to me, and the renewed interest and excitement in Avatar and Korra has been inspiring to see. Writing this letter has left me with a very heavy heart. I know many of you will be disappointed and frustrated by this news. I get it. I share your disappointment and frustration. I also recognize this creative setback is small compared to the problems we're all facing as a society right now. Thankfully, Iroh offered some wisdom for that too. Sometimes life is like a dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of a tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place. May we all keep moving and come to a better place. Thanks for reading, and for your continued enthusiasm for the Avatar universe. With gratitude, Michael Dante Dimartino. So what does this mean? Whatever ideas Netflix had about how Avatar The Last Airbender would look didn't align with how the show's original creators imagined it. I still remember one of the major reasons why everyone was excited for this adaptation was because the original show's creators were coming back. This doesn't necessarily have to mean bad news for the Avatar The Last Airbender series. The world of live action is just different, and things don't directly translate from animation. What I'm trying to say is don't lose all hope, because I'm sure there are plenty of capable people on the team. Like Bryan himself said, there were still very talented people that they themselves trusted and hired working on the project. Now the question on everyone's mind, what does this mean for auditions? Because it was Bryan originally who announced that there was going to be an open casting call, which resulted in a lot of hopeful auditionees. And I think a lot of people need a wake-up call. The show creators have no obligation whatsoever to give you a role. If you are desperate for a job, you are never going to get one. So, relax. If you're an actor, or you're interested in being an actor, there are plenty of other opportunities for you. In terms of the future of this YouTube channel and what I'm going to be doing from this point forwards, if casting calls open, I'll do my best. I've still got a few videos planned for Avatar related content down the line, but I've also recently started streaming on Twitch. At the moment I'm getting quite into Valorant and I quite enjoy it when you guys come and say hi to me. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. If Netflix really messes this show up, that's just how difficult live action adaptations are, and if they actually pull off something really good, then everyone wins. So yeah, thanks for watching. This is just a really quick video because I felt I had to talk about this. And yeah, I'll see you some other time. GG, not so easy.